I was doing something that felt natural to me, but something subconsciously was telling me not to tell anyone, and I didn't realise that. I was different in that I discovered what I truly was with my wife, and we did it together. So I was good in my situation. But a lot of people, they live in the closet. When the wife goes away for a weekend, they just have a whale of a time dressing. My family know I do what I do, but I'm more petrified of Joe Public than I am of my family. The average person will look at you, stare at you, think you're quirky, weird, whatever. But you get a group of guys or a group of girls, especially teenagers, and they want to prove things to each other. They're the people you fear, because they're the one who will create the greatest embarrassment and create the greatest problems. It all started when I was 12. I was playing with my sisters. I was minding them because my mother was at work. It was no big issue back then. And they were playing a dress-up game, and I joined in. And it all started with a pair of my mother's tights, believe it or not. And that's it, really. It wasn't really an interest. It was just a happening. I mean, I'd been trying on ladies' clothes between the ages of 12 and 26, and I got married at the age of 24. Of course, the temptation of women's clothes meant I would occasionally try my wife's stuff on. And in fact, when she first asked me was I a transvestite, I said no, and I was truthful, and basically because I didn't know what the word meant. So when I looked at the dictionary and discovered what a transvestite was, I was able to say to her, well, maybe I am. When my first wife threatened to tell my mother, I thought, well, I better tell her myself. Better coming from my lips than someone else's. So I made a conscious decision to tell her. And when I told her, she said, when did you start that? I said, when I was 12. Her response to that one was, how come I didn't know? I almost said, yeah. But no. I told her, then I had to tell my sisters. My mother doesn't like it. She won't tell anybody. She's a bit embarrassed. But my sisters are okay with it. When I was 15, I did consider it. It was at a time when I felt a bit lost, a bit sort of rejected, I suppose. And I wanted it because I wanted to have a sense of belonging. And that would have been perfect for me because it would have given me a sense of fitting in because of the female environment I was actually in at the time. But then as I grew older, like when Ria was really born 10, 11 years later, the need was not there because Ria was replacing the wanting. So I was getting what I wanted, but I still am ostensibly a blokey bloke rather than a girly girl. So I wouldn't say that at this moment in time I would do it. But I would probably, as I get older, maybe live life as a woman, but not necessarily have a sex change. Even I don't know everything about the culture of dressing, whether it's transvestite, cross-dressing, transgender, whatever you want to call it. I'm still a student of learning what's around. I mean, I've talked to lots of people about relationship reactions, etc., and I've got a good idea of like when a wife finds out, the process she goes through is no different to actually losing a husband in death, because it's almost like grieving. But then that changes over a period of time, and this could happen over 3 months from the finding out to the acceptance, or it could happen over 3 years or even longer from the finding out to the acceptance. And it's a rocky road for the person who dresses in the middle of that, because a lot of people don't realize this. Men are more emotional than they claim to be or show themselves to be. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I dress, is my emotion, because I am emotional, and I know I am, but I'm not sure. Not that I can think of. I mean, it's my normal. It's been my normal since the age of 12. and I can't think of a thing I could change that I would want to change. I mean, I've always been honest about it when I've known what it is. My first wife and I discovered what it is. And the partners I've had after that, I've told on the third date, and they accepted it. Okay, they went a bit wrong after that for other reasons, but the relationships were accepted at face value after 3 dates. And telling on the third date to someone who you feel like you want to get to know better, the amount of courage it takes to tell them is overwhelming. I mean, on both occasions I was in tears because of the emotion involved and the courage it took to do it, and then the adrenaline rush that sort of goes when you've done it makes you feel relaxed, especially when they say, oh, okay. I would say yes, because we're getting braver and braver, but it's taken 20 years to get to this point. And that's the reality for most people who dress. Time is what makes you braver. But I've never actually considered this abnormal. This is my normality. And always has been my normality. It's other people's view of it is abnormal, not my view. I enjoy what I do. And always have. I profess that we're all weird, but we're all normal.